Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing a video on how to maintain your hot toys / figures. But before we begin, just a small announcement that I'll be doing my monthly giveaway at the end of this video. So this month's giveaway prize is a 7J Iron Man life scale mask worth around 200 Australian dollars. So make sure to stay around for that. And let's get into today's video first. So first things first, if you started collecting hot toys recently, or if you never really plan to get a display cabinet, I suggest you to get one first. So the display cabinet range from the cheap ones like IKEA Detolf to the more expensive ones like Module Case. The reason for getting this cabinet is not because of dust, because dust really doesn't damage your figures. The reason to get this display cabinet is that you can spend less time maintaining your figures and more time look at your figures. And accidents do happen while cleaning. The more frequent you clean, the higher chance accident can happen. So before I got my own display cabinet with glass, I just used my IKEA Billy bookcase without any cover, and one day when I was cleaning, I just accidentally knocked my Iron Man to the ground. Luckily it was only some paint chip, but that's still damage to your figures, and if you damage one figure, the money is enough to buy a few IKEA Detolfs. However, a lot of cabinets like Detolfs, Billy, or some cabinets at your local shops, they all have one issue, and that's that they have gaps around the cabinet that dust can get in. So I really recommend to spend a few bucks on these weather or window strips. You can get them from Bunnings if you live in Australia, or Home Depot or hardware store like that for fairly cheap. And all you do is seal them around the cabinet and they will keep majority of the dust out. Now you got yourself a proper display cabinet. However, that doesn't mean it's 100% dust proof. You will still need to clean your figure regularly. So here I would suggest to use a soft hair brush, so something like a makeup brush. You don't want to use the hard ones because it might damage the paint, especially on your head sculpt. And for harder to reach parts, I suggest to use a Q-tip. Also, if you're lazy and if you have figures secured on your stand, you can grab a compressed air and just blow the dust away. Now, let's talk about common damages to your figures. So in the first picture, we can see there are a lot of pleather flaking on the jacket. So this pretty much can happen to all the figures with leather material or pleather material. On the second picture, we can see the Iron Man on the left. It's got a lot of area turning pink, such as the body, the waist, the crouch area, and even the hands. It's a very common issue, especially for older Iron Man models, because even though they're die cast, a lot of the areas they're still using rubber, and due to some external influence, this rubber can easily turn pink. And on the last picture, we can see a big chunk of paint scratched off here. So this doesn't mean he dropped the figure and the paint scratched off. If moisture stay on the surface for a long period of time and then you simply just touch the figure with your hand, it can just rub the paint off. This happens a lot in the more humid countries such as Malaysia or Singapore. Let me know if you're one of the victims to such issues down in the comment section. So the two most common enemy to figure collecting is UV light and humidity. Temperature plays a little bit part as well, but it's not so important. It's good if you can keep your room temperature below 30 degrees Celsius at all times, so it doesn't get too hot in the room. If you have an air conditioner in summer, turn it on. Even if you have a fan, just leave it on to cool the temperature down a little bit. So now the UV light. You often hear people say do not put figures near sunlight. Mostly it's the UV light that causes damage to material and paint. So make sure where you store the display, make sure the sunlight does not touch them. Now with humidity, this one is a hard one. A lot of people doesn't realize that the environment they live in is very humid. If you have a thermometer, I recommend to take it to your room, turn it on, and measure the humidity level. In a lot of countries, the humidity is about 60% or even 70% all the time, and that is really bad for the figure. What you want to do is you want to keep the humidity level between 40% to 50% at all times. A dehumidifier like this one on my screen will really help. Before, when I first started collecting, I also did not realize how humid Australia is. So one day I bought the dehumidifier The one I bought is called Climate, the brand. So basically that day before I went to work, I closed the window, closed the door, I turned the dehumidifier on and left for work. And by the time I came back after 10 hours, the water was pretty much full. And that was few liters of water. So that's how bad my room is, and I don't live in a super humid country. So for those that live near the equator, you have to be really careful with the humidity in your room, and I really highly recommend you to get one of the dehumidifier. Let's talk about conditioner. So with materials such as cloth, like most of the Star Wars figures, you really don't need to worry about too much because they're very hard to get damaged. But for rubber, such as the parts on the Iron Man or Batman or pretty much any figure with rubber, Black Widow, what you can do is get this 303 aerospace protectant. So it comes in different shapes and forms. You can get spray ones or you can get wipes. So basically follow the instruction and use just a little bit once every 3 to 6 months on your rubber material figures, and they will look good as new. With pleather and leather material, well, Hot Toys doesn't really use real leather. The only one I know of is DX10 Terminator. It has real leather, and most of the products are pleather or fake leather. So the product I use is this Trinova leather conditioner. There are so many leather conditioners out there. You can get them off eBay or you can get them off your local car stores. I would recommend to use the conditioner every 2 to 3 months on your pleather figures, and it will really keep those pleather in mint condition for much longer. Now let's talk about battery leaking. So a lot of Hot Toys comes with light up features, such as pretty much all the Iron Man. So a lot of people really enjoy such features because it makes the figure looks much cooler, especially for photography. But I do recommend once you finish taking the photos, you take the batteries out because the battery can leak inside the cavity. So it doesn't matter if it's regular A4 batteries or those small cell batteries, they all can leak and they can really cause damage to your figures. I remember when I first started collecting, I bought this Batman armory, and when I opened the battery compartment, the leaking was pretty bad, but luckily it didn't leak further enough to cause damage to the armory. So yeah, once you finish taking photos, just take the battery out, or if you really like the light up features, just get a soap reactor. A lot of people selling them, and you can also find YouTube tutorials on how to set one up. Okay, lastly, we're going to talk about dynamic poses. You can see on the screen, we have the Thanos and Spider-Man in pretty cool poses. So for example, Endgame Thanos, if you want to put him in a power pose like this, you have to really bend his elbow, and his elbow is all rubber. So over time, the rubber can really break. So of course, if you have the Infinity War Thanos, it comes with a bent arm like this, and that would not damage the figure. So now let's look at the Spider-Man. As you can see, there are a lot of creases forming around his crouch, around his legs, around his joints, around his arms as well. So what I recommend for people that like posing the Spider-Man in dynamic poses is that after a few months of posing, take them down and get them back into museum pose for a while. It probably takes a couple weeks before the creases all healed up, and then you can put them back on dynamic pose. Because if you always keep them stretched like this, the suit is very likely to get damaged down the track. Maybe not 1 or 2 years, but 3, 4, 5 years, it will probably get damaged. And of course, with seamless body, so this is not Hot Toys, but you can see there's a crack on the elbow. Hot Toys has a few figures with seamless body as well, such as the Wonder Woman. So just be careful when you pose her in dynamic poses, especially with elbows bent, because over time, the back of the elbow tends to crack. So that's pretty much it for today's video on how to look after your Hot Toys and figures. Hopefully you guys find the video helpful and informational. Now let's get into this month's giveaway, so good luck everyone. So basically I do a giveaway at the end of each month. And for you to enter this giveaway, you just need to buy an in-stock item from me during the month, and your name will automatically be going into this magic cup here. And this month, the giveaway prize is this 7J121 scale Iron Man light up helmet, and it's worth around 200 Australian dollars. So here we go. We'll give a good stir, and I am going to turn to the side so I don't look. I'll pick one from the bottom of the cup, and the winner for this month is dun dun dun. Can we see? It's Justin Ellis. Congratulations, Justin. You just won yourself a Iron Man mask. And thanks all for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.